I'm Samantha Chian, your host with Spirit of Nevada. This episode is brought to you by the Richard Harris Law Firm, helping families and injured victims throughout Nevada for over 40 years. Hope you enjoy the show.
People and then fading into the mountains down around El Dorado Canyon. And so, they knew who was doing it, but they could never catch him. When you turn off to go over to Tacoma, in an area that he never got to, but he's actually buried up there.
Last week, we filmed a documentary on the Indian renegade named Queho. There were many other outlaws just like him. Let me tell you about them. Tell me a little bit about Avodi.
Avodi is an Indian prior to Queho, probably 1897. He'll kill 5 miners in a 2-day killing spree out here. And one of those miners is Charlie Nelson, and who the town of Nelson's named after. But he's actually an Indian that works on the river collecting driftwood for a living for the mine. Him and a lot of other Indians did that. And he just goes amok one time and kills all 5 of these guys just like that. Whether or not it was their fault or that maybe the white man was treating them bad, and he just had enough of it. You can fight that situation, but he would kill 5 people in a 2-day killing spree. His own tribe has to chase him down, and they chase him about 20 miles down the river, and they catch him on Cottonwood Island and kill him down there. He's missing, when they killed him, they cut off his hand as proof that he killed him. He's missing a finger on one hand. And when they brought his hand back, they go, no, that wasn't good enough. Because he had killed so many people, or so many important people, they wanted his head. And his own tribe has to chase him, go back down and decapitate him and bring his head back.
Oh, how awful.
So, yeah, that's another whole story of one of the Indians.
Chattacop is the oldest and richest gold mine in southern Nevada. It operated from 1861 until 1942. Today, the Whirlies offer a historic walking tour that gives us a glimpse into the life of a miner. So we're back here at Nelson's Landing. This is the El Dorado mine over there. And right next door is Charles Nelson's home. And it was actually donated over to the Whirlies. This is where he lived. He was very well known in the town and a lot of people respected him. And unfortunately, he was killed by a vote along with 4 others.
Oh, wow. One room here, got a bathroom there, this sitting room here, and this is as big as the home's got.
Here, it's recording.
All right, check this out. This is the bathroom. Was this the back door or front door? This would have been like a front door type of a thing. Okay. And then right behind me is a bedroom. This is how big their homes were. There was no need for a bigger home.
Vote is interesting. You got to go with Mwawich first. Mwawich in 1891 is in a poker game in El Dorado Canyon. He and some other folks, some other Indians, and a guy who's carrying the mail. He's a postal rider. He's carrying the mail. He's lucky. He wipes out everybody else, takes all their money. Well, Mwawich doesn't like the fact that he's lost all his money. So the postal rider takes off and he goes across the river and camps. And then he's going to ride on the next day. Mwawich goes over, finds him, kills him, and takes the money back. Well, then he's flashing the money that he has, so they figure out is flashing the money. So the miners in El Dorado Canyon figure out, oh, something's happened here. They find the body of the postal carrier. So at that point, what they would do is they would go to the nearest Indian encampment, because the Paiute lived in basically extended family groups. And so they went to the nearest Indian encampment and they said basically, either you go get this guy, who obviously killed this postal carrier, or we'll kill you. Not very, enlightened of them by any means, but that's how it worked. And so the Indians charged Avote, who was Mwawich's brother,
so they were related.
Yeah, they were related, and said, you go get him. So Avote goes out and kills his brother. Got to remember, we're in the middle of nowhere at this point. This is down in El Dorado Canyon. No railroad here yet, no Las Vegas, no sheriff, no nothing. The sheriff never came down here from Pioche. We're part of Lincoln County. We're in the middle of nowhere. Avote, 5 years later, finally loses it. He beats up his wife, almost kills her, and he starts killing. And he ends up, he has dinner with a guy, white guy, miner. After dinner, he kills him. And then
in his house.
Yeah. And then he goes over and asks a friend to borrow a rifle, which, go hunting and that's not
Everyone
unusual.
Has one.
So his friend lends him a rifle and he goes out and kills 2 Teamsters that he sees. Shoots the first one, the other one sees that he's just shot him, tries to run away, shoots him once, he's wounded, then he shoots him a second time and he's no longer wounded, because he shoots him in the back and he kills him. Okay, he's killed 3 people. This is all the same night. And then he is on the prowl, kills 2 more people.
Was there a reason why he shot?
No.
I mean, why did he go on this killing
It's
spree?
not.
There's
no explanation. All one can imagine is that he just, he got angry. Was it related to from 5 years before? Was it just that he
Caught him on a bad day?
Yeah, got him on a bad day, got a bad hair day. I don't know. He started shooting people and killing people.
Wow. This place is just so breathtaking. Who would have thought that it comes with such a dark history? I'm gonna have a seat because I have a story to tell you. We hiked all the way up to Mouse's tank so that I could tell you what and who hid out here. So there was a Paiute Indian by the name of Mouse. He was a little troublemaker, a drunk, caused a lot of trouble, and he worked for Benelli's Landing, which is right off the Colorado River. And one day, back in January of 1897, he just caused a lot of ruckus in an Indian camp. And Benelli had to disarm him because of what he was doing. And later on, allegedly, after killing 2 prospects, he hid out here in Mouse, and that's why it's named Mouse's Tank, because this is where he hid out. And as you can see, there's lots of spots to hide. And there's a water area down there. If you hike up here, it's not too bad of a hike. You can see where he got his water. And this place, at some point, just to take you way, way, way back, it was underground. So you can imagine that there was water here at some point. So yeah, these are just things that we've uncovered doing our documentary on Queho. So I found out about Mouse and the name behind it in several of my interviews with Mark Hall and over at Nelson's Landing as well, when I sat down with the Worleys. So it's just really neat that all these places here in Nevada have some type of history to them. So at the Valley of Fire, there's Mouse's Tank. Was that named after him?
Yeah, it is. I don't even know if he ever made it even over that far, but they named it after him. You know, yeah, I think he did. Yeah, over to Overton, I think that's probably in his range.
And you said he was a troublemaker. What's his backstory?
Well, he's a horse thief, and he just, stealing all the time and stuff like that. Benelli had a Benelli's Landing down here on the river. He had stole stuff from him and got run out of here. He comes all the way over here, and so he's just bouncing around out here. He's an Indian and he's hungry, and so that's probably what put him up to it a lot.
Was he a part of any tribe?
I think all 3 of them are Paiutes. Okay. Pretty sure.
Do you have any photos of him here?
No photos of any one of those are available.
Mouse was, he was working for Daniel Benelli. He was basically a mean drunk. He was not a nice guy. He was not liked by the other Paiutes. He would get drunk and he would attack the other Indians, and they basically chased him off. And he eventually came back and stole some cabbages out of one of the Indian women, one of the women's gardens. And so she raised the alarm that he was back. He'd been chased off, been kicked out of his job and chased off. He killed some miners across the river in Arizona, and he offered to show them where a gold ledge was, and instead killed them. Then when he showed up again, stole this cabbage, she raised the alarm, and this Indian woman did, and they put together a posse and went out after him.
So where did they find him?
As I understand it, it was close to Indian Springs when they finally caught up to him and shot him. And they chased him that far. And it was one of the, a number of people shot him, but they think it was one of the Indians that actually got in the killing shot.
And speaking of the Indian renegades, there was Mouse. Did you know any stories about him?
Well, Mouse, my mother told me stories about Mouse. She went to high school in Moapa Valley, and that he would come and raid the homesteaders up there and take animals or crops or things from the kitchen, and then they would chase him and try to track him down, and nobody could ever find him. He'd go over the mountain from Moapa Valley over into the Valley of Fire, and they didn't understand how he could be over there because there's no water over the Valley of Fire. So as they chased and looked, and many years later they found what we now know as Mouse's Tank, which is a pool of water underneath a cliff that maintains water almost year-round, and that's where he was going and living because he had a supply of water there. And that's how he could always get away, because the people that were chasing him would have to go back home because they were out of water.
Just so everyone knows, we didn't feature these Native Americans to condone their behavior in any way, but to learn about Nevada's past. We all have done things in our lifetime that we wish we would have handled differently. But it's important not to be defined by our past, but instead learn from our mistakes to build a better future. I'm Samantha Cheon, but you can call me Sam with Spirit of Nevada. Brought to you by the Richard Harris Law Firm.